Hey, what's up, you guys? So today we're going to be doing an overview of Kratos 2 Maximizer from Kuassa. This is a precision brick wall limiter designed to have a very flexible yet transparent sound. Now let's get straight into this. From the top left, you have the little Kuassa castle logo, which allows you to bring up the About section. You have File, which brings down a little drop-down menu, which allows you to save presets, go through the manual, go to the website, and it also lets you turn on and off delay compensation. You have the little drop-down menu for your presets. You have the A-B button, which lets you switch between two completely different settings for your limiter. You have the copy A to B or the copy B to A button next to it, which lets you save whichever setting you're actually looking at onto the opposite section. You have the power button, which lets you turn the processing of the plugin on and off. Now let's go straight into the plugin. You have the maximize knob, which allows you to add up to 20 dB of gain into the input signal of the limiter. You have texture, which basically acts similar to the way a look ahead on other limiters work. Basically what it does is it measures how long of a latency the plugin is going to have to look ahead. It starts from 0.1 milliseconds and goes all the way to 2.5 milliseconds. This is recommended when you have a lot of low frequency signals that you need to limit. It will give it more time to see and get ready for the signal to come in. And that way you don't have to worry about getting audible distortion and stuff like that. Right under it, you have the knee setting, which controls how hard the limiter section will actually be hitting it once it starts gain reduction. All the way to the left of 0 is basically a hard knee, which means as soon as it passes the threshold, you're going to start getting immediate gain reduction. All the way to 20 is a very soft knee, which means that it will very gradually go into the limiting or compression. This is actually a great way of really smoothing out and taming the limiting, or if you have very transient heavy material, getting a more natural sound. You have attack and release, and they both start off at 0 milliseconds. The attack goes all the way to 300, while the release goes up to 1000 milliseconds. Now you have a normal and adaptive modes as far as the attack and release. And what that does is normal just stays static on whatever you leave it at, while adaptive actually is dynamically changing depending on the incoming signal and what your texture knob is set to. You have a dither section, which functions as a normal dither, a high pass dither, and an equal loudness curve, or what the human ear hears. You can just turn it on and off by this little button. And you have 3 different dither bit depth. You have an 8-bit dither, a 16-bit CD quality dither, and a DVD quality 24-bit dither. You have oversampling from off to ×4. I find that with oversampling off and texture all the way to the left, you can get a really aggressive and in-your-face sound, while you can get a more transparent, less pumpy sound with the oversampling on. You have the final output ceiling, which lets you determine what your final output's going to be, and you have a really nice gain reduction meter. Let's get into a small little example. What we have here is a vocal that I'm actually using this on. This is from the artist Joe Kaufman. The song is Day the Rain Came. Now this little section here on the lead vocal, I'm actually finding that the vocal is not standing out enough for me. Now what I want to do, where these little peaks are, to slightly be tucked in, but these little dropout areas to be kind of brought up and kept above the mix enough. So without it, you'll be able to hear that it just kind of sounds like it goes in, but then it slopes under the mix a little bit too quickly. So here we go without it. So you should notice that it doesn't really have that stable in-your-face sound. It kind of sounds more like it's kind of tucking under the mix a little bit too much. And what we're doing is with the settings we have set up here, we're basically trying to go for a very natural and very transparent sound. We're just tucking the peaks under it, and we're not really compressing these quieter parts at all. We're just basically doing a little bit of limiting to gain a little bit of volume while keeping the original peak volume the same. So this is going to be With It. It's much better, and as you can hear, it's very, very transparent. Now let's do this one more time, and I'll bypass the plugin on and off so you can hear the difference. So hopefully what you should be able to hear from that is that when it gets turned back on, it very gently and naturally lifts up the volume. This is a really great way of really just taming and controlling peaks. And with all this extra control, you're able to really get a tailored sound of either transparency or very colored aggressiveness. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do one last final example where I'm going to show you how I use Kratos 2 Maximizer as a final brick wall limiter for this mix. So I'm going to do is I'm going to play this without it, and then I'm going to turn Kratos on to show you how I've managed to gain the level up and still keep a nice, clean, transparent limiting.
So I stand up and grab my coat. I read the letter that you wrote, 'cause I see life in black and white. Oh, I'm going down and it's not right. The day that the rain came.
I'm feeling like I'm really actually able to maintain and preserve the original sound. There is a lot of distortion in the actual bass track. I'm actually using another plugin from Kuassa to actually drive the bass. And that's actually the Cerberus bass amp right here. This is a really, really cool little bass amp, and I'm getting a really driven, distorted sound. And that's kind of the sound that I wanted to go for. So what I'm actually trying to do is I'm trying to preserve and maintain the sound without getting any pumping as I gain volume. And that's what I think I've managed to achieve in this instance. Now, as you can hear from that, I managed to gain a whole 16 dB of gain without really sounding crushed or distorted. And what I'm doing is I'm using the oversampling, the adaptive attack and releases, a little bit of a softer knee to kind of gently go into it. And then I'm using the texture knob to basically give myself some look ahead room so I don't actually get squashed when I'm coming into it. So that'll be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the overview, and I would highly recommend demoing this out. You can check it out at kuassa.com. I will leave a link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.